dust is in my eyes, my blood is on the ground. Quiet little chuckle and the shuffling of the boots of the coward that shot me down. He turns toward the sunrise and I hear him softly say, I guess you've met your macho man, as the colors fade to gray.
Howdy, partners. Dust and Blood is a rabble-rousing, rootin'-tootin', bronco-bustin' podcast not suitable for the ears of young'uns. Take a gander at the content warnings and listen with care.
Welcome to Dust and Blood, a narrative play podcast set in the wild, weird fantasy West. I'm Blake, your GM, and our players are Keith Curtis as Jasper Graves, Corinne Hill as Myra Sting, Zach Parker as Maz Copernicus Pryor, and Gail Parker as Bonesaw. Last time on Dust and Blood, tensions emerged on the trail as Bonesaw needled increasingly angry Avery, the bearer of Carter's cursed gun. Problems abounded as the group traveled through an unwelcome wild magic zone filled with lush foliage and heard a woman scream. It is late at night, and Myra, you just heard this scream coming from outside the camp, some distance.
She has her gun at the ready, and she kicks the nearest person who's asleep. Psst, get up! There's someone screaming! Hey!
The person who is closest to you, sitting with his hat pulled down over his head, his gun across his lap, is Hodges. You smack him, and he immediately is, like, up on one knee, gun pointed, like, what is it? What is it?
Woman screaming, wake everybody else up.
He points his gun in the air and fires a shot.
Oh, that woke everybody
that's much
up.
Quicker. I should have done that.
What's all the hullabaloo? I'm trying to sleep. I need my beauty sleep. You don't want to see me ugly.
Look alive, people. We got trouble.
Alive is maybe a stretch.
I apologize.
Oh, can't you let a horse fall asleep for a little while? Drag me into this godforsaken place and then just wake me up in the middle of the night? Let me roll something. Off in the distance, you hear a clink, 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 clink as some pots and pans get rattled.
Aha.
It's about 60 feet out, right towards the edge of dark vision.
Myra is gonna get behind the wagon and peek around the corner and look in the direction of the noise.
Myra!
What?
What's going on?
There's a screaming! There's a woman screaming. I don't know what the hell, just out of nowhere, and our traps got triggered.
Oh.
If you got good stuff in there, now's probably a good time to use it.
Bonesaw will grab his massive hog splitter and have it at the ready.
I will roll over and, in a prone position, have my 6 gun out.
Everybody give me a perception check.
Dun dun.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Myra!
The worst roll in all of that was Maz's 19.
How? That's, like, really good for me.
All of you, as you're looking at this, coming out of the darkness, you see a woman begin to walk towards you. She is kind of hunched over and limping and moving at a slow pace. Her hair is pulled back. Because you're seeing her with your dark vision, you can't make out much more than that. Except for Myra. You're the only one who actually sees. She's limping, but nothing seems to be wrong. She doesn't look like she has any injuries that you can see at this distance. And what's more, where you're seeing her coming from is from further out than the pots and pans were that you just heard.
She puts a rifle up and she says, "Miss, that's far enough."
How is she dressed? Western clothing, or?
She is actually not wearing any sort of fashion that most of you are familiar with. It doesn't look like any of the fashions that you've seen here out west For those of you from the East, and even some of the laborers from China, you haven't seen this kind of dress before. Give me a history check, Jasper.
Sure thing. History. 7.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is unknown to you. Tell her what kind of thing I know. She speaks to you from a distance in a kind of a light, breathy voice. What languages does everybody speak?
Ooh.
Apache, French, Spanish, English.
Speak Common and Draconic.
Common, Orc, Necral, Abyssal, Infernal, and Mandarin.
Ooh.
Common.
None of you are able to understand what she is saying. She stops when she sees you pointing the gun at her, and she kind of puts her hands in the air and says, Tana, and she points at her leg.
May I start mixing an elixir? It'll take me 1 minute to make a new one.
Yes, but I'm going to need you to roll on the wild magic table.
Okay.
Oh, shit. I forgot we're in a wild magic zone.
Yeah.
51.
Oh dear. As you're mixing this, your spell begins to take its form, and then all of a sudden, it starts to glow very slightly. You're not sure what's going to happen when you use this, but something is going to happen when you use it.
This will probably work.
During this time, as she has her hands raised, she's begun stepping forward closer.
Myra's gonna say, she's faking her injury.
Oh, well, perhaps I can find out why. Bonesaw finishes mixing his elixir and says, bottoms up! And drinks it.
Okay. What was the...
Tongues. The spell grants the creature touch the ability to speak and understand the language of any intelligent creature, whether it is a racial tongue or a regional dialect. It allows me to communicate, but I don't think it tells me what the language is.
As you drink this down, you suddenly are able to understand her as she begins to speak. In addition, as you drink this, there is a sudden burst of light from inside of you.
Oh no.
Because it's the area of the spell being cast.
Hallelujah.
Coming out of the eyes of your mask
Ooh.
is just daylight as you look around.
Ah! Talk about heartburn!
What
Bones.
the hell?
Hell of a hangover.
Just an odd side effect. Nothing to worry about.
You understand what she's saying. She says, please, I need your help. They're hunting me from the north. I need help, please.
She says she needs our help, and that there's some people hunting her from the north.
She's faking an injury. And where the scream came from, it ain't where she coming from. It's farther out.
Is she carrying anything?
She does not appear to be carrying anything. As she has gotten closer and you're able to tell, she's wearing this very high-collared outfit, and she appears to be a half-elf. She has the ears, but she doesn't have the very large pupils that elves have. Her hair is drawn back, though it is a bit messy. She is just limping and kind of holding her hands up.
Just didn't want to see any more snaky dynamite.
I say we give her an injury that's not so imaginary.
Well, hold on. It could be she just needs a little help.
Carter looks over and says, I feel a mite nervous about this. I don't think this is someone we want to be fucking with.
I tell you what, can she understand you?
Oh, yes.
Why don't you tell her to stay where she is? One of us will come and take a look at her, but the rest of us are going to keep an eye out, and I'd like to get a little distance between all of us in case we see any more, explosive type surprises.
That's a grand idea.
I would like to walk away from the encampment. She did not come in the direction of the screams?
She was further out than where the screams apparently came from. She is coming from the same direction from the north.
All right, I would like to go at a tangent to that, then I'll go to the west, but I will keep my eye on the north, and I have both my guns drawn now.
Excuse me, miss. Would you mind just standing still there for a moment for one of us to come check you out? The rest of us are going to spread out just to be, friendly and safe.
Please, you don't understand. You have to leave. You have to go south immediately. This place is not safe. We need to flee.
Who wants to check her out?
I'm not gonna be the guinea pig.
Tell her that we know she's faking her injury.
Hey! She's faking her injury!
Her head snaps to you, Maz, when you say this. Unnaturally fast.
It was a snake, she said it! What, me?
And she cocks her head, looks up at you, Myra. You all must leave this place. They will find you. And they will... Boom! And she disappears as she is pulled into the ground.
Whoa.
Problem solved, I suppose. No more spooky woman.
I don't think so. Is there any hole left behind?
Oz needs a nap.
She just kind of like slapdash into nothingness.
She just disappeared. She was saying something and her voice caught, and then she got sucked into the ground.
Oh, shit.
Don't step there.
Looking
Noted.
at the surrounding area, are there any rocks large enough to stand on?
Yeah, I would say so. You see a moss-covered rock close by.
I will scramble up on top of one of them in case it's one of them there tremor type situations.
Give me a perception check, Jasper.
16.
You don't notice anything that appears to be out of the ordinary. One of the things you do notice is the sounds and chirpings and crickets of the plains have returned.
Alrighty. I'm assuming that the flare ammunition that I have but do not have in my gun currently is magical in nature, correct?
Actually, that's more chemical in nature. You can go ahead and fire that off.
It's going to take me a sec, but I'm going to put in a flare bullet, and I'm going to fire up in the air towards the north.
Oh, fantastic.
See if I can shed some light on the situation.
You fire this up into the air, and it hovers, and it lights up the entire area, and everybody's able to see around, and you can actually see kind of the colors of the night as you're looking around. Some distance away, you would say probably 500 feet, well outside of what you would be able to see with your normal torches, you see the silhouette of this woman standing in the distance, watching all of you.
Oh, Myra, I think you might be right. I'm really glad you didn't let me go make friends.
Wonder if we're dealing with skinwalkers.
Oh, shoot. So she can... Everybody get on the wagon.
Bonesaw hops up into the seat.
Carter looks at you like, I don't think that I'm going to be able to fit up on that there.
Well, it seems like she moves through the ground, so I best you find someplace that's not ground.
Don't suppose you'd lend me something to defend myself? Not on your life.
Nope.
All right, you're the ones that...
He could get inside the wagon. There's enough room. Might be a bit tight.
I have a question about the flare.
Yes.
So, how close is it, would you say, to the lady who's standing there?
It's probably 500 feet up in the air.
Does this work like a Avery pistol where you fire it up and then it slowly descends, burning all the while?
Yeah, exactly. It's slowly descending. It's giving you guys all light for a long time. And as you watch, she turns and disappears again.
Damn it. Damn it. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Myra's up on the wagon. She is like, floor is lava. Floor is lava. Fuck no.
Is anyone not getting on the wagon?
Carter is going to climb into the back of the wagon.
That's going to play hell with your suspension.
Yeah. Let me roll a check.
I'm on my horse, Tumble.
You hear something break in the back, and you hear Carter say, consarn it. Sorry about that.
It's coming out of your paycheck.
I don't think that I'm the one who's getting a paycheck at the end of this.
Oh, I'll find one.
Hodges is just, his eyes are on a swivel. He's at the top as well. And he's saying, so what do we do? Do we want to stick around here, or should we try and get north?
I don't think we're going to escape this thing.
Well, folks, I'm going to stay on the ground here, but I would appreciate it if the rest of you would kind of train your guns in my direction.
Pardon?
Just in case there's any kind of surprises coming up from the ground.
That's very trusting of you.
Are you putting yourself up as bait?
Well, I just have to say that I don't really have any kind of a fear of being buried alive, if you see what I mean.
That's fair.
You roll a knowledge religion?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I should roll knowledge planes or something like that, but that's my best guess for a spoop.
Okay. With a 24 for knowledge religion, you can be fairly assured by the way that she's acting. She does not appear to be any sort of undead. She does not appear to be any sort of
Ghost or revenant or...
ghost or... Yeah, she is definitely living. She's not an angel or a devil or any of that stuff.
Okay.
Can I take a closer look at the wagon, see what Carter broke?
You open up the door and you see shattered on the ground is a bottle of whiskey.
Not the giggle juice! Carter! What'd you break that for?
It's a little bit of a tight squeeze for some of us folk. I ain't exactly as skinny as I used to be.
Long as the wagon's still functioning.
Can we not worry about the whiskey right now?
I'm mourning, Myra! Leave me be.
Unless the wagon starts moving, I'd like to kneel down and place my left hand on the ground so that I can kind of feel for any kind of movement. But I got my right hand filled with iron.
Okay. Are you anywhere near where she initially disappeared?
I moved off to the left, and I had probably moved off about 30 feet. I did climb up on a rock, but I'm down off the rock again. So wherever that puts me.
Okay. She was a little bit further out when she first disappeared. Go ahead and make a perception. Are you guys going to go ahead and start moving? Which direction are you guys moving?
North.
Okay.
Such a pity to leave the cookware behind, but I'm sure we'll get by. Lovely new bear trap.
Wow, 16. Jasper, you do not sense anything other than the horses plodding along, the wagon moving. You hear all of the same night fauna making noise as you continue.
All right, I will keep pace with the wagon, and I'll do my best to keep my eyes and ears out, but I realize that I can't, stop every 30 feet and put my hand on the ground anymore, so... Anybody looking at me? Just checking.
Myra's on lock. She's looking at you. She's looking at around. Well, I guess she's probably looking elsewhere because she's just head on a swivel, looking around, trying to find that thing. So I guess she looks at you every now and then, but she's looking around.
Bonesaw is on high alert for 2 minutes, and then he gets bored. You can see him kind of slump at the seat, and he's like, okay, back to normal.
Must have been the wind.
Maz definitely has a hand on his 6-shooter, but he's just playing with his jewelry every now and then, keeping an eye out.
I think Bonesaw will try to sleep as we go.
You all continue moving forward through the night. As you get closer towards where she was at the second time that you saw her in the distance, you all see a plant with red berries growing on it.
Juniper?
Did we by chance happen to see the hair color of the lady?
Red.
I would like to see if I could make some kind of knowledge check about this plant and these berries. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, make a survival check for me.
28.
Ooh.
Awesome. You recognize this as a goodberry bush.
Good berries.
You very much know that this is uncommon for it to be growing in this territory. To actually be growing on a plant, they need a much more humid environment.
I didn't know that they grew on bushes. I thought they were only made by spells. I mean, this here's a goodberry bush.
My stomach's rumbling. Give me a bite of that.
Well, before anybody gets their knives and forks out and starts slathering up their saliva, I would like to point out that this is growing in a wild magic area, and I'm not sure I'd trust anything like this in this here locale.
Oh yeah, no, we're not stopping for nothing.
Well, listen.
Screw that bush.
We don't have to use it right now. Bonesaw already has a little trowel out and a little thing he can use as a pot. And he's walking over to the bush. This will be perfect for my elixirs. You can't tell me I can't have it.
No,
It'll just take
please,
2 moments. One moment. Half a moment.
Half a moment might kill us.
Last time you drank something in here, lights start pouring out of your eye sockets, Bones.
Yeah, you're still spotlights. Or how long does tongues last?
An hour. What level are we?
Yeah, you're...
Jesus. So she just got the headlights.
Bright light in the middle of nowhere. Everybody
Even when
can
you
see
try
it.
to sleep, you're looking up in the sky on your back, and it's just
It's like searchlights.
Every time
Yeah.
he blinks.
Not exactly a stealthy approach.
Well, at least it makes a light for the horses.
Yes, it ended up being very handy and not harmful at all. He shook into the soil and, like, gets the bush out and into the pot.
Bonesaw.
There appear to be 3 berries on it currently.
Only 3.
Wonderful. He'll bring it up top on the cart with him where he's been trying to sleep.
Myra's pointing a gun straight at it.
Don't shoot my plant!
I might.
Well, you have a feeling these are where good berries?
The plant does as plants do and just kind of sits there.
Myra's still looking at it. It's like, I'm watching you.
Can Maz do an arcana check on the plant?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Ooh, a nat 20.
Ooh.
That is fantastic. You're able to tell that this is definitely a Goodberry bush, and it does not appear to be affected by any sort of wild magic. It appears to be a just plain old Goodberry bush.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it's going to last very long, unless it gets some very good, tender loving care now that it's been pulled out, but the berries seem to be viable.
I put it in a pot with some soil.
I think we could make some good berry jelly out of that. Mother's favorite recipe.
You all continue north, alternating sleeps. I'm going to assume that everybody gets enough between what they slept before and what they sleep after, if they can sleep.
So I think Myra doesn't sleep.
I think she's seen enough spooky things that she does not sleep and she takes a point of exhaustion, because that's definitely in character.
Yeah. You're going to be fatigued for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Everybody else gets a good night's sleep, or as good as you can expect to have gotten.
Yeah, I will have moved to the cart eventually because I wasn't planning on walking all that long.
You all wake up, and as you're roused, making your way north, you don't see anything out of the ordinary for the first couple of hours. Everybody who's on watch, give me a perception check.
Wow, that's 3 times in a row. I rolled a 3 on that.
29.
Carter kind of knocks on the roof and says, I wouldn't mind getting out of here. If I'm gonna die, I want to at least see what's coming my way.
It's fine with me, just don't hit anything on the way.
Hodges looks perturbed and says, I'll probably be able to do more damage in that rat's nest of a cart than outside, so better to get him out.
Mean.
That's not very nice.
Can we frisk him since he's just been in a place with lots of tools and things that he could use to get out? Just a hunch, possibly. Maz is not a very trusting person at all, and he did, break the whiskey, so he's already on a little bit of a grudge.
Make a perception check.
All right, not bad.
Carter doesn't seem to be holding anything from what you can tell.
Still missing that whiskey.
Tell you what, when we get out of this and Hodges is laying in a ditch, I'll buy you an entire bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to that.
Hodges just glowers and says, Carter, I'm going to outlive you. I'm going to be drinking on the day they hang you. You know, Hodges, I'm getting a mite sick of your attitude. Well, maybe if you weren't a low-down murderer. Now, you keep saying I'm a murderer. All I've ever done is defend myself. And what about all of those Pinkerton agents? Oh, you mean the Pinkerton agents that I killed? Yes, I seem to remember something about that. Huh. Yeah, I remember. Wasn't that you all were trying to run some ranchers out of town for the Blackburns, if I remember correctly? They hired me and my friends, give them a little bit of backup. You're the ones who threw the first punch, my friend. We just defended ourselves and those farmers from that tyranny of the Blackburns. Hodges says, Blackburns had a perfectly valid reason for that land. They were going to compensate the ranchers justly and fairly. They weren't gonna be fair. They hired you as thugs to drive them off the land. We was just protecting them.
Myra's quiet.
Carter shakes his head and says, You get this holier-than-thou mentality. Honestly, if y'all hadn't gotten involved, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Got a nice big bounty put on my head, and I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. Hodges says, "You're gonna hang just like you deserve, you outlaw. And I'm going to smile when it happens." Oh, is that the day you're going to get your eye fixed too? You've kept that damn grudge for 10 years. Perfectly willing to go and buy all the restorations that you want, not for that eye. Just as petty as I am, Hodges, you just hide behind a shield for it.
Myra's kind of slowed down a little bit, and finally her attention is off the spoopy lady going in and out of the ground, and she kind of looks forward at Hodges and Carter having this conversation.
Hodges has stood up. You see his hand is hovering pretty damn close to the pistol that he took.
Hodges?
What?
You know what? I think some distance between the two of you is good.
He blinks for a minute and says, "Maybe you're right." And he's gonna go, and as this tension dissipates, everybody, you look up and you see about 50 feet out, the woman.
Damn it!
Standing there.
I knew I shouldn't have turned back. That's what happened. Damn it, she's back!
I slap leather.
She is not doing anything. She is just standing there at the moment, watching you.
You know, she hasn't actually done all that much, just stand and stare.
That's pretty darn creepy, though.
Well, pretty lady, I'd offer you a drink, but it seems somebody made our supply run a little dry. Carter?
Would you forget about that whiskey? I will buy you a crate of whiskey when we finally get to Perdition. Shut your mouth.
I'll hold you to that. I'll get so much alcohol out of this damn deal.
You hear her start speaking, and this time, she is speaking English.
Oh, now she speaks English.
You persist, and you persist, moving across this hallowed land. Do you have a death wish?
Well, now, how long has this land been hallowed? Because as far as I know, this is the route between Ravenspine and Perdition.
This land is protected. I protect this land from interlopers. And if you do not leave, you will regret it.
Can we leave in a northerly direction?
No.
What is it that you are trying to protect this land from, besides interloping? I got that part. But what is it exactly you think we're likely to do?
Roll diplomacy.
Well, all right then. Holy cow.
It was a 10 DC, so with a 15 you succeed. She cocks her head again and says, "Those who wish to do this land harm, those who damage this land and cut it and destroy and burn,
I'm looking back at that Goodberry bush.
those who lay their iron, those who carve up this land, those who do not know what they meddle with, and those who don't know when to leave."
Well, suppose you tell us who it is that that you are working for. Is this some task you set for yourself, or are you representing a larger body what has given you authority over folks that are just minding their own business? Because I could say I'm protecting this land from interloping half-elves myself. I have been charged by myself to protect our group from interlopers, and as far as I can tell, you're interloping on our path, miss.
She laughs this pealing laugh that simultaneously sounds of bells and the screech of a barn owl. I have protected these lands for longer than you have been breathing. I have been protecting these lands longer than you humanoids have walked. This land belongs to itself. I will see none who will disrupt it and use it for their ill gains.
Now look, pretty lady. We're just trying to get on by. We mean you no harm, we mean the land no harm, but I promise you this. If you get in our way again, I will torch every inch of this godforsaken land.
Whoa,
and
Boz,
we
whoa.
will get by.
Holy!
Whoa, Boz.
Make a will save.
God damn it.
Shit.
16.
Ah.
She looks at you, and all of you see as Moz, this little rat folk, just slumps forward and falls off of Tumble.
Moz!
Damn it, Boz.
And then you see Tumble falls over.
Too much?
Both Moz and Tumble have fallen to the ground.
Bonesaw jumps off the wagon, grabs Moz, scoops the little rat folk up in both of his arms, and pulls him back onto the wagon. He can't carry the pony, so he just leaves Tumble.
I'm assuming I'm unconscious. Like,
We'll find out.
we'll find out. Can I speak?
Nope.
Okay.
Your eyes are closed.
Okay.
Myra lowers her gun and she goes, whoa, wait. What if we gave you something in return? To prove that we don't mean this land harm. What if we helped protect it?
Her head cocks at this.
I assume protecting this land on your own is probably not always successful. I imagine you'd want some ambassadors that can negotiate things a bit more peacefully. We could set a fence. We could set up warning signs.
Roll diplomacy for me. While you're rolling that, Bonesaw, are you doing anything with Moz?
Yeah, I'd love to roll a heal check, diagnostic, just to see what's going on with him.
He is in a deep sleep.
Finally, peace.
And his horse is likewise sleeping?
Yes, his horse appears to be sleeping as well.
Is it possible to get this spell in a pill form?
Well, that's going to kind of put a kibosh on us moving any further, I'd think. Unless anybody can pick up a horse.
You are able to tell, Bonesaw, that a good slap should wake him up.
Oh, Bonesaw smacks it.
Should have asked for volunteers.
Mozzie! Rise and shine!
What I
Moz,
miss?
you wake up in Bonesaw's arms.
Oh, get off
Oh,
me!
Mozzie! I missed you!
I was only gone 5 minutes.
How do you know?
I was gonna say.
The sun.
Myra, you say all of this. You rolled a 19 diplomacy check. She considers and says, "You speak for this group."
Oof.
Yes, absolutely.
Jasper?
I don't know if I want to commit myself to a lifelong habit of protecting this land for no mystery person.
At the very least, they don't have any intention to harm. So, and, even just one person to help you out is better than what you got.
She cocks her head again. Hodges looks like he's about to say something, and he has his gun starting to pull up.
Don't you fucking dare, Hodges.
I'd like to interrupt that. What are the dimensions of your land? I mean, could we travel a bit to the east and skirt around it? Bit to the west, maybe? Because up until the day before yesterday, this was just a plain old road, as far as I know.
She considers all of this. 10 miles to the north. 2 miles to the east. Meet me there. And we will discuss this further. And she sinks into the ground.
Okay.
You know, Jasper, just because we tell the spooky lady we're going to put up signs or anything doesn't mean she can hold us to it once we're gone.
Yeah, but I don't know. Spooky ladies have a way of taking your words and like binding you to them, I think. Or at least it could happen. I don't know. She's weird, and I don't trust her. But 10 miles north is the direction we were headed and a distance we were willing to travel. I don't know about this 2 miles east. We could just keep heading north at hell-bent for leather. Get ourselves out of this area, because I don't think her territory reaches all the way to perdition.
Can we see where she wants to meet? Like, how much vision do we have going forward?
It's pretty far out. It's just hilly enough ground. You can't quite see where the 10 miles out would be.
Would it still be within, the wildlands?
From what you can tell, yes.
Well, I think we should meet her and just tell her what she wants to hear.
Maybe we should split the party?
No.
Because if this is a trap to get Carter free, then I don't think Carter should be there. Maybe if Hodges and Carter keep moving, and only a few of us... I know, as I'm saying it...
Carter looks at you like, thumbs up, like, yeah, works for me. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Damn it.
Hodges says, no. If we're doing that, I need at least 2 of you to come with me.
I say there's no way that Carter's gang got ahead of us. This has got to be some sort of third party. I see no benefit splitting.
Okay.
And now, let's take stock here what we have seen. This woman apparently can travel through the ground. Okay. All right. It's probably a magical spell for that. And she can put folks to sleep. Okay, we know there's magic spells for that. I don't think she ain't no god nor nothing. As I intimated before, I do not recognize her authority over this land. All right, she says she's been protecting it since before humanity was around, but it's easy enough to say.
She, at the very least, she sounded like she had experience from suffering at the hands of not-so-savory people. I don't think that's untrue, regardless of whether she has been around long or not.
Well, here's a thought. We know that Carter's gang is probably going to be after us eventually, right? And Myra here seemed halfway to convincing her to be on our side. Perhaps a little tit for tat. Yes, we put up some signs and then she can go put Carter's gang to sleep if they follow us on our trail.
I think we're being flim-flammed. First thing we saw is this woman limps up into camp acting like she's needing help. Then all of a sudden she's some eternal guardian of this place? I don't think so. I think somebody is trying to pull the wool down over our eyes.
Well, remember the sinkhole and the barn owl. So she's been with us this entire journey.
Maybe.
Well, flim-flammery or not, I think we should flim-flam back. Either we can get her on our side and get some benefit out of it, or, as you said, she's not all that powerful, so we can just do as we like and push on past.
Well, if you all want to just kind of meet where she says to meet, that's okay, but I think I'm going to hang back. I mean, I ain't gonna abandon y'all, ain't gonna split no party, but I am not walking into the jaws of a trap, neither. I'll keep my distance. I'll keep you all covered.
It's probably smart.
You can have your meeting, but I ain't agreeing to nothing with no flim-flam lady like that.
Maybe Jasper stays with the cart, and the cart stays back a little bit just in case it tries something.
I say we go hear her out. This is a good idea.
Hodges says that I'm gonna stick back with Jasper, just in case.
I think it sounds like a plan.
As you're continuing forward, the land is just becoming even more vibrant. The air almost has this bluish-green quality about it. And the creatures that you see become slightly different. One of the coyotes running past has purple streaks in its coat. You see a jackalope with 3 eyes hopping across the ground as you get further north. The world seems to be shifting slightly, and in fact, as you get closer, you begin to see this glow in the direction that you're heading on the horizon, this bluish glow coming from a point. As you approach this, Hodges, Carter, and Jasper, you all hang back a little distance.
I'm going to be on Smokey.
I'm leaving Tumble with the cart.
Bonesaw will leave the wagon with the others. If any of you take my cart, I will hunt you down and put you on the wrong side of the grass.
Myra, Maz, and Bonesaw. You approach and you find yourselves a decent distance from this glowing blue thing. You've started to notice that the trees and the fauna aren't just looking like plains anymore. They're starting to look almost like a forest. You see small wear-lights kind of floating through the air, little motes of light. And you finally begin to get an idea of what the portal is.
Is that a body?
As you approach, you begin to see some concerning signs. Humanoid bones sticking out of the ground. What appears to be a mummified corpse stuck in a rigor mortis. What appears to be the burnt-out husk of a building that has been just blasted away from this swirling vortex in front of you. It hovers about 10 feet above this pool of water. It swirls like a galaxy, slowly, giving off blue motes that occasionally tear off and flow back into itself. The water below is perfectly still, the kind of stillness that cannot be achieved in nature.
How old are the dead bodies?
Give me a heal check.
Okay.
14.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them look like they're a couple of months old. The bones look like they're older. One of the corpses looks decently fresh.
Okay.
Like within the past couple of weeks.
Does the map indicate that there should be a town here?
From what you can tell, yes. There should have been a town here.
Some kind of flim-flammery, huh?
I've been dying for a bath. Thank goodness there's some water here.
Don't even. Don't. Please don't.
Mars, as much as I agree, given your stench, I don't know about that particular bathing pool.
Where's that pretty lady? She said she'd be around here.
Bonesaw will start moving up.
Yeah.
We came to talk.
Yep. Super cautiously.
Something tells me that these corpses won't be talking much.
As you approach and you get past this line of trees, all of a sudden, you see a creature begin to step up and out of the ground. This is the first time you've been close enough to see what has really happened. But she appears to be coming up out of just the blades of grass. They seem to form up into this flat plain, and she steps up out of the grass. She has this almost woody texture to her skin, and her hair is long and flowing. She's wearing a green dress, and she's carrying a skull with her in her hands.
Ooh.
Awesome design.
She looks at the group of you and she says, "Now you see what I protect. What is at stake here."
Is this... You say you've been around for longer before we've been here. Is this land? This isn't... Where the hell are you from?
She cocks her head and says, "There are many names for my home. Specifically, it is known by many as the Glenfar of First World."
Oh no.
For y'all's information, First World is... It's the Feywild. It's... yeah.
Can we roll knowledge planes to see what our characters know about it, though?
Yes, absolutely.
Bonesaw got a 20.
Is that trained?
Yes.
Mine is not.
16.
I've just heard the word.
General knowledge, what everybody knows about First World, at least those of you that rolled. You know that it is the land of the Fae. It is a tumultuous land. It's seen by many as kind of the blueprint before Earth was made and created in the realm. That's where all of the Fae creatures come from. It's a very shifting landscape. It's very difficult to navigate. There's lots of stories going back, particularly from the old world. It's said that there's a lot more connection to First World in the old world. Bonesaw, you actually hit the DC on this. From what you're able to tell, based on what happened with the Kane County magic disaster and kind of what you're experiencing with this is probably the source of the wild magic zone, that one of the ripples basically tore a portal between First World and this place. And this is a portal to First World.
So, we're on a different plane, I think?
I'm sorry, what?
We're not in Kansas anymore. Or New Mexico, or wherever.
So when you say plane, you mean Plane?
Yes.
Not the PLAIN we've been on.
Yes, that's correct.
Just wanted to make sure.
We might want to tread carefully. Just saying. Just a suggestion.
Well, that does put a slight different cast upon it if we are indeed no longer in our own world, but in someone else's. All right.
You are in your world somewhat. When this area became linked to my home, it became an extension. I have been protecting this land from interlopers who would seek to use this for their own gains. Those who have come through, those who try and have failed. And she turns to you, Myra. You say that you want to protect, to help me in this.
If that means we can get through, and I feel like I am overdue for some good works, so I don't think it'd be such a bad thing for me to maybe help out a little bit. Maybe don't make me have two heads or anything like that. I'd appreciate it.
She steps past you, Bonesaw, her dress kind of flowing back behind her. As she steps, more of these grasses grow. Each step is causing more of this undergrowth. It's clear that she has been kind of responsible for a lot of this prairie growth that you've been seeing the past day or so. There are many who would exploit trust, particularly on your plane.
Actually, I was thinking perhaps something that's better for both of us, in that we close this portal. That way you won't have interlopers anymore. And that way the people of this world can go through this town, and I believe we should also probably lay the souls that got massacred here. There's supposed to be a town here. And I think they done got blowed up.
There were many humanoids that perished when this portal opened. I would love nothing more for this to be closed and for me to return to my duty on the other side.
Is it possible?
I'm not certain. My sisters are looking for a solution, but we have not yet found one. The magic is tainted. Something that was done on this plane has left an indelible mark across all planes.
Bonesaw, Maz, you think you think you know what this might be? I don't know anything about magic or planes or nothing.
Yeah. The Kane County Railroad Wars happened quite some time ago, but there have been aftershocks like this every once in a while. The ley lines in the West have been kind of corrupted in a lot of ways, and occasionally new portals like this will open up. This is stuff that Bonesaw got from that knowledge planes.
Well, a little while back there was a sort of kerfuffle. I don't really know the details, but something about wizards and a railroad, and something went wrong and a lot of magic, you know, in the ley lines and whatnot. I heard a bit about that.
This was that.
Related, I think. Perhaps an aftershock or something sort of connected.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know how to fix it.
No. I just... Well, shit.
Maz wants to know what the sheriff has to say about all the copious amounts of bodies lying around and the seemingly perpetrators standing right in front of us.
Are there women and children folk here? Because that's important to know.
It appears that whoever was in the town at the time that this portal was burst open, they were caught in whatever magical wave occurred.
I don't think we can fault the Fey folk people for that. That sounds like something that's on the Kane County Wizards Association or whatever their names was.
Earlier you said that there were bodies, like the age of the bodies, and there's varied times. Like some were a little bit newer, some were older. That would indicate that maybe not everyone died during the initial explosion, right?
Yes, you can infer that some of the bodies that you're seeing were not part of the initial death toll.
So it's likely that probably she killed them or they got lured here, something along those lines. She hasn't entirely been friendly with us, just saying.
Does Moz speak this out loud?
He's conversing with the sheriff privately.
The sheriff gives a couple of ribbits.
My thoughts exactly. It's an awful lot of typing.
Yes, it is.
That is one long-winded frog.
You'll hear a bloop from the sheriff. She continues to talk to you, Myra. If you are genuine in helping protect this land, to prevent any more interlopers, to prevent those men with their iron rods coming through, those machines of steel from coming through this land.
Myra starts to get cold feet, but she knows she can't really back out now because she's in the lion's den. But she kind of grits her teeth a little bit and kind of mutters to herself that this is probably something she should do. And she nods and she goes, yes.
Can I actually ask a clarifying question before Myra agrees to anything? If we kept going north, would we actually pop out where we want to pop out, or would we just keep going deeper into First World? Because really all this time you've been like, turn around, get out! And if the only way for us to get where we need to go is to turn around and get out, then we can just do that.
She considers and says, you all have come too far to turn around. Had you turned around at the first signs, perhaps you could have.
Did I fuck us?
You need a guide to escape.
Oh.
And she turns to you, Myra, and holds out a hand. I will guide you from this place and ensure your safe passage.
Now wait just a second. How are you gonna explain all these bodies lying around this big old portal thing?
As I said, there are those who have come as interlopers, who have brought their iron rods to lay down and poison this land.
Oh.
Last I checked, that's just landscaping. Now what we have here is murder. And frog law does not accommodate murder lightly.
When you say laying down iron, are you talking about long rails of iron with wooden sticks in between them?
Yes, that is exactly what they have been putting down.
Gotcha.
And she turns to you, Moz, and says, this land could be used to exploit First World. It is my duty to protect it and lay down my life.
Well, I got a solution that'll benefit all parties. You hightail it out of here and it's no longer your concern. And we'll be on our merry way.
Boz, we are really not in the position to be telling this person to be doing anything right now. We're not even in New Mexico.
I respectfully disagree. I say this as I coax a little bit of fire from my necklace and hold it in my hands, inches away from... I'm gonna move up closer towards this lady and look her in the eyes.
Mozzie, my dear. Now, you and I have been in a few tight spots, and you know I love when you bust out the fireworks. You know that's very fun. But consider, if we get lost in First World, with almost no rations, we will almost certainly die without a guide. Just putting that on your little brain platter.
She's standing in our way.
Smokey and Jasper are going to kind of edge behind the wagon.
Hodges has leveled his gun, and he is prepped. The Fae looks at you, Moz, and says, does this one speak for the party?
No.
No?
Do you wish to make an enemy?
No. No.
We're not sure yet. Could you give us a minute to discuss that?
He's mad. He's mad because Because there's our kin on the ground, and you don't like your kin being hurt. We don't like our kin being hurt. He's upset, rightfully so, but it's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. He's upset, and we're gonna sort this out. Okay, just give us a few seconds.
If y'all are willing, I'd like to interject a solution that I hope might be acceptable to all parties, even those who are not currently present. Seems to me the issue here is that this here land, this part of our world and your world are kind of intersecting at the moment. And we have a bunch of people who are not us. We are not involved with them, but there are a bunch of people who want to run an iron road between two towns that happens to go through the territory that you are protecting. My suggestion is that if this stays as it is, it's just going to be a big old mess and it's going to hurt everyone. But if you let us through, we can talk to those people, explain the situation to them, and I would be certain that in order to avoid an altercation with the First World, which would help none of us, they might be willing to shift that road so that it no longer intersects with your territory. A little bit to the east, a little bit to the west. I'm sure that there is an alternate route that could be taken. They don't want their folk to die or be enchanted. You don't want an iron road running through your land.
Roll a diplomacy check for me.
Yeah, let me do that with my -1. Sounded better in my head.
5.
Fire it is then.
She
I think with that argument,
she rolled a 3.
She rolled a 3!
Yes.
Thank God.
For her sense motive. She touches the plant behind her, and suddenly she's standing in front of you, Jasper.
All right. I am going to try my best to not flinch. Like, I knew this was going to happen.
She says, "That would be an amenable solution for the time being. But I have seen the way that you mortals on this realm twist words and lie. If I agree to this, that you all will make every effort within your powers to divert this iron road from coming through my land, I will lead you out of this realm, and I will grant you a boon. However, I will need some, how do you say in this language? Collateral.
What type?
Yeah, what do you propose?
Here, I'll give you this iron horseshoe. It's magical.
Oh, please do, I dare you.
No, I don't have no death wish.
She says, something of value to you. Something, a memory perhaps.
His face just goes like stone.
You value your memories.
Perhaps something else.
I would return it upon us reaching the end of our accord.
Well, you see, to some of us, those are a bit more precious.
Her whole head turns around without her body moving.
Oh, no.
She says, that is precisely why I know that you will do anything to get them returned.
Now, do we get to choose what kind of memories you're erasing there?
And does it have to be a true memory?
It must be a memory that you value.
Damn.
I got a bunch of stuff I could unload, but, not that kind of memory.
Well, miss, if you look at this horse, look at the gear she's carrying, look at me, look at the gear I'm carrying, that is pretty much the sum total of all my worldly possessions. Beyond that, all I got is memories, and they ain't too trustworthy. And there's only one that I value, and I will protect that one to the end of my undead life.
So that will be a no.
Counteroffer. We here have valuable memories, but we also have valuable hostages. If you were to perhaps hold on to our dear friend Carter until we safely return after having made the proper arrangements, I think that would be adequate for our arrangement.
How does Carter feel about that?
Carter can feel however he pleases. He doesn't get a say.
Carter says, "Oh, great! I could be left here with a fairy. This is just wonderful." Hodges says, "We're not leaving him here."
Now, hear us out.
He might actually be useful for once in his miserable life.
It's kind of an interesting thought, right? Because the railroad is the one that's going to pay us to bring him the rest of the way. The railroad is the one that's invested in all this. So if we go to the railroad and say, "Oh, unless you do what this fae person wants, then you don't get your thing back." Your person, Carter, that guy.
Hodges has a gun leveled at this fae creature and says, "You're gonna show us the way out. We're gonna fill you full of lead."
He doesn't speak for us.
He does not speak for
If
us.
you're going to kill him, just kill him.
Okay, maybe don't
Or
kill
steal his memories if that takes your fancy.
Alright, wait.
We're not too particular on him. Why are you obsessed with memories? Are they like a commodity where you're from? How much do I get for a pack of gum? Would a horse be like a sweet 16 birthday party? This currency doesn't make much sense to me.
What if just one memory? I got a few... There's some things I'd like to forget.
As I said, they must be valuable memories to you.
Myra has a memory in mind. Because she knows we're not getting out cleanly if we don't help.
Oh. She steps over to you, Myra, and she places one of her wooden fingers on your forehead as you start to think about it. And she smiles. I sense much emotion attached to this. And she begins to pull away from your head, and you all see this silvery thread coming from Myra's forehead. And Myra, this memory fades.
She kind of shakes her head a little bit and she squints like, wait a minute, what? What was that?
The creature holds it up to the light. This will do quite fine as collateral. And she wraps it around her fingers.
Oh, hold on. Maybe I'll get it back.
You will get it back, should you complete your end of the bargain. Prevent the Iron Road from coming through this land.
Okay, just, your word.
My word
Okay.
is worth that of 1,000 mortals on this plane.
Jeez, you really weren't kidding. Like, how could I forget that?
Well,
Forgot about it, probably wasn't that important.
I'm thinking those weren't exactly our words. That weren't exactly the bargain. The bargain was that we would do everything within our power to stop the railroad from coming through. If we fail but try our hardest, does she still get her memory back? 'Cause that's good faith.
What does the Miss High and Mighty, my word is 1,000 times more than that of a mortal lady, say about that?
Everything within your power. You are correct. That is the way that I worded it. You must do everything within your power. However, seeing that you have made it this far, I have quite a high assumption of your power. We have an accord. She holds out a hand. Wesglen.
Pardon?
Wesglen. She's holding out her hand to Myra, specifically.
She puts her hand out.
As you shake, you feel this power thrum between you as a fey contract has been accepted. Now come. Wesglen turns and says, I suppose you all are wanting to leave.
That'd be nice.
I reckon so.
Oh, her name is Wesglen.
Yeah, her name is Wesglen.
Oh, okay. I was like, she was introducing herself.
She begins to walk at a northwest-ish angle and says, come along. We have but a few hours.
Myra scratches her head and follows.
Bonesaw takes Myra's elbow a little bit, kind of supporting her, and he leans in and says, you didn't have to do that. None of us would have asked it of you.
It's weird because I feel like something's missing, but it actually kind of feels... I feel a little lighter for some reason. I don't know, it's... Honestly, I kind of feel a little bit better, or at least a little more carefree, I guess. So...
Well, not all memories are a comfort.
They do make us who we are.
Yeah, not sure I wanna be me so much.
Jasper,
Yep.
give me a perception check.
28.
Oh. You catch it out of the corner of your eye, just barely.
Oh no.
You see Carter pulling a small flat blade out of his sleeve.
I will draw my gun. Don't you dare. You will not make it 5 steps from where you stand.
He looks at you. He smiles slightly and says, caught me fair and square. And he takes the blade and just throws it into the ground. It is a butter knife.
Not the spoon that I handed to him the other night.
No, it is not.
Because I got that back.
As he does this, Hodges turns around, shocked, and says, what the fuck do you think you're trying to pull, Carter? Nothing. I'm just trying to ensure my escape. As Hodges hits him with the butt of his gun right in the gut.
That is enough. I've had enough for you two. We are in a dangerous situation. You two are not going to make it worse. You are both to stand down. We are taking control of this prisoner. Sir, you are here. You are going to accompany us as we agreed, but you are not the leader of this expedition.
Oh.
Yes! Tell him!
Cooler heads will prevail. And I still have my gun out.
Make an intimidate check.
Good shit, Jasper.
So it's not the Fae that's gonna kill us, it's Hodges that's gonna kill us.
Intimidate.
Come on!
7.
He's gotta get a bonus for that. He's
Yeah,
gotta get
it's-
some kind of bonus.
That
was
good.
such a good speech.
Yeah, that was a hell of a good speech. Carter looks like he's holding up his still shackled hands. Whatever you say, boss. You're in charge. Hodges, however, steps forward and says, how dare you speak to me that way? You are the employee of the rail, and if you dare to stand against me and my decisions...
I'm going to slap him in the face.
We're gonna die!
And I'm going to say, I think you want to think twice about how you're talking. Because, son, I have a willpower that you could wrap a horseshoe around, and you do not want to test me.
Oh,
I'm gonna take my gun out.
you slap him. He was not expecting that at all. That was a shocking moment to him. Carter lets out a startled laugh. Hodges looks at you and says, you are under arrest for the assault of a Pinkerton agent working under the lawful authority of the railroad. Will you come quietly?
I do not recognize the authority of either of those institutions to perform an arrest. You want to try me? Fill your hand.
Everybody, roll initiative. This is not the fight that I thought was going to happen tonight. I am so glad it's the fight that's happening now.
We got half an hour to wipe the floor with him.
God.
You guys see that Hodges is trying to arrest Jasper. First up is Moz.
The only authority here is the sheriff. And I'm gonna take a shot at him. I have a +1 revolver, which is magical.
For magical weapons, when you use their magical abilities, you have to roll 1d100. If you beat 25, it fires as normal. If it is below 25, then you have to roll on the wild magic table.
Okay.
As you take a shot at him, you only do 3 points of damage as it strikes him. He says, "And that's assault. You're under arrest as well."
Put on my tab.
Myra.
So, as part of my class as a gunslinger, as long as I have 1 grit point, my initiative check includes me drawing my weapon so long as it's not hidden. So her gun's out. She's gonna curse and say, "God damn it! Can we just fucking get out of here?" And she points her gun at Avery, and she's gonna take a shot.
I assume it's a magical weapon.
Oh, 1d100. That's right.
63? Okay, yeah. It fires off quite successfully. The first one hits and does 12 damage. The second one strikes his badge and just falls to the ground. It seems like it missed. He looks at you and says, "I suppose it's mutiny then. Lay down your arms. I will ensure that you get a fair trial." And he looks at you, Jasper, up there on your high horse.
I think I would have to have been dismounted to slap him.
Okay. You have not attacked him yet, directly, as a part of this fight. However, Moz and Myra have. He has his rifle out already, and he's going to say, "For your crimes, you're going to be sentenced to death." And he's going to take 4 shots. First 2 are at Moz, second 2 are at Myra. What's y'all's touch AC?
Oh, and Myra's fatigued.
Oh shit. Hodges levels his gun and pulls the trigger, and as he does, you'll see a misfire as his gun breaks. Fuck, and that's a nat 1 with a ranged attack, so he's going to draw a card. It explodes back in his face. He takes... Holy shit. You see a gout of blood spurt from his destroyed eye, and he starts bleeding.
Oh my god. Poor Avery. I feel bad for this guy now. All he wants to do is deliver the sucker to perdition, and he's got caught up in all this.
That's all he can do on his turn. His gun is broken. Jasper, you're up.
All right, Jasper will draw his second revolver, and he will say, "Little man, the great president of these United States was shot point blank in the back of the head by a mangy cur named John Wilkes Booth, and that man stood up and led this country. You ever fought a zombie, son? You ain't got no chance. I'm already dead."
Holy shit. Make an intimidate check again.
24!
Holy shit, that's a fucking nat 20. Holy shit.
God damn.
This is bananas.
Yes! I stand Jasper so hard.
Avery, he is bleeding. His gun is broken. And you come at him with this. And he, for the first time since you've known him, looks shaken. He looks afraid.
Now, if we're all going to make it out of here alive, I want you to divest yourself of all your weapons, and out of courtesy of our host, you will not place iron upon this hallowed ground. And, god dang, who do I trust most here? Bonesaw? And that's saying something. Bonesaw, if you would collect his belongings.
Bonesaw?
Well, given the fact that Moz and Myra have fired and fired first, and I don't want to say, "Hey, Carter, would you grab his weapons?" That pretty much just leaves Bonesaw.
Fair enough.
Elimination!
Although I could say Smokey. You're the only one here I trust.
Hodges, he's still bleeding, by the way. He's going to take his rifle that he's holding, and he's shaking a little, and he just holds it out in one hand.
Bonesaw saunters over. There's a lot of swagger there. He didn't actually participate in the battle, but he's very pleased with how it went. And as he leans in to take the gun, he says, "I told you not to mess with me, Avery."
Holy shit.
You take the gun from him, you take the rifle, he pulls out his tomahawks. It's like 1, 2 tomahawks that he passes over to you. And then he pulls out Carter's gun.
Be a mite careful with that one.
Bonesaw takes it.
Make a will save.
Quick, go here, get the gun.
9!
Oh. I'm so glad it was you.
Shit!
Roll a full attack for me.
A 26.
No.
You take this gun, this brass gun with musical notes on it. It has a stallion rearing up on the handle. And as it fits into your palm, it just feels perfect.
Oh, what a nice little gun.
This is your gun.
I think I might keep it.
How dare that fucking pretender take your gun?
My gun. Yes. And why shouldn't I keep it?
And you take it at point blank range and shoot Hodges. Carter just laughs. It fires, and it is not just a regular pistol shot. It sounds like a freight train. It does a massive amount of damage as it slams into him. It pushes him back. It needs to make a fortitude save now.
Who's the dead fuck now, Avery?
Fortitude, he's not gonna pass this.
I'm most upset because Jasper chose me out of everyone to trust, and
I forgot about the gun, honestly. I would have had Smokey get the gun because he ain't got no fingers.
Hodges, you see blood start pouring from his ears down the sides as this hits him. And he looks between all of you. And he's gonna turn and he's gonna start running.
Bones, you're a doctor, damn it! What was that for?
This gun is mine now! And it was his before! And I'm feeling a lot of emotions, okay? I don't know quite how to handle them all!
Drop that thing on the ground right now before you kill somebody!
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Why not? Bonesaw's just like holding the gun like it's a live snake, and he's got it by the back of the head, and he looks kind of volatile, like he really could turn and shoot any one person, but also kind of like he wants to put it down, but doesn't quite know where to put it or point it or anything.
Bonesaw, listen to me.
What's that?
Look into my
What's
eyes.
that?
Look into my eyes. Just listen to my voice. Don't pay attention to nothing else. Everything else is fine.
I've got a gun.
You have a gun.
I've got it.
A good,
It's in
safe
my
place
hand.
to keep that gun would be in that saddlebag on Smokey's back.
Safe place to keep the gun.
Just put it in there, out of sight, out of mind. It's still yours,
Still mine.
but it can't hurt no one.
Still mine.
Still.
Make another will save.
Can I help or aid in any way?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a diplomacy check. Just trying to beat a DC 10.
It was a nat 20!
That is a nat 20!
Yeah, Jasper! Let's go!
Man, two of my worst skills.
Bonesaw, go ahead and roll the will. It's plus 5.
A 24 plus 5 is a 29.
You hear this call. Why does he want this gun? It's your gun! But you shake your head, and you're able to put it in the saddlebag.
Still mine, just for safekeeping.
Still yours.
That's right. Still mine.
Smokey, it's too dangerous a place for me to put you back in your box. But I want you to listen to me because this ain't quite one of your normal tricks. We're gonna adjust a little bit. I want you to defend, which is one of his tricks, that gun. Don't let nobody near it till you hear different from me. Can you do that, girl?
Also, Avery's running away. Is anyone gonna go do something about that?
Myra's going after him to also heal him a little bit, and like, I don't think he's gonna hurt nobody now. I think he's sufficiently spooked. Myra's bolting after him, going like, "Stop! We're in the first world. You're gonna get lost out there."
What's your run speed?
My speed is 20 right now because I am fatigued.
You are able to match his speed, but you're not able to catch up to him.
Avery!
He does not seem to be able to hear you.
Avery!
Carter says, "No, let the bastard run. Want to see how he handles himself here in the first world."
Myra stops running.
Is anybody else going after Hodges?
I can hop on Tumble and try and catch up.
What's Tumble's speed?
40.
You're able to catch up to him.
As I catch up, have a rope, and I'm lassoing it above my head, throw it out, and as it's flying through the air, I pull out my fiddle and I play a little tune, and it wraps around Hodges.
I love that.
Snaking through the air.
That's pretty cool.
Let me roll a reflex save for him.
That's the only damn spell I'm gonna use.
Oh, Avery, that don't look good.
He trips and falls and just, boom, slams right on his face. Make a perception check, Moz.
Alright.
You see him start to pull out a sheet of paper, specifically a scroll.
I think I am going to try and burn the paper from his hands. I am going to cast Soundburst, but I am going to convert it into fire damage with my handy-dandy fiddle and target the piece of paper in his hands. And I might also cinch him, but that's a secondary concern.
Roll 1d100 for me.
Shit, I forgot! Probably should have done that on the animate rope too, but it's caught up in the moment. 99.
Nothing seems to happen. The scroll that's in his hand bursts into fire.
And he still can't hear me, so...
Yeah, he can't hear you. And now, with your apparent prisoner, Carter laughing his ass off at this whole situation, Wesglen, a guide out of this area, looking kinda pissed. That's where we're gonna end our session today.
It's a good day, Sheriff.
We're so fucking dead. We're gonna piss off so many people. The railroads, the Pinkertons.
It was so cool, though! Dust and Blood is a Rolling Path production featuring Corinne Hill as Myra Sting, Blake Alfson as our GM, Zach Parker as Moz Copernicus Pryor, Keith Curtis as Jasper Graves, and myself, Gail Parker as Bonesaw. Our theme song is Dust and Blood by Arne Parrott, and other music throughout this recording is provided by Kevin Macleod, Tabletop Audio, Dark Fantasy Studios, and the Desperados 3 original game soundtrack by Filippo Beck Peccoz. Transcripts, detailed sound credits, and more can be found on our website at dustandbloodpod.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Dust and Blood Pod, or support us through our Patreon at Dust and Blood, where you can join our community Discord and get perks like our behind-the-scenes discussion show, The Roundup. We are so thankful for the support of our fans, people like Rain, Saru, Haz, and Hyland. If you enjoyed listening to this, you can keep listening afterwards because we've already put out the next one, and the 3 after that. Content warnings can be found in every episode description, and we hope you enjoy exploring this fantasy western with us. Thanks for listening.
My eyes shoot open to the early morning sun. I feel that aching, pounding, poking of a bullet in my lungs. Skinny ceiling, bones crunching. I feel that wretched ancient something drag me up to face that coward son of a gun. His face grows white as he fumbles for his holster. I feel the lead pierce my shoulder, neck, and chest. I scream that I have died 100 times and lived 1,000 years, and I'll be damned if a boy like you's gonna be the best. Yes, I'll be damned if a boy like you's gonna be the best.
I was like 90% certain that she polymorphed into that Goodberry.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, she has red hair, she has green clothes, it's a green plant with red berries, but guys, do you know how rare it is? I've never seen one before. I, as a player, cannot leave it behind. Even if it dies.
I was one Arcana check away from nuking that thing with a 10d6 fireball.